Dead or Alive 4 was actually the first Dead or Alive game I ever played. As I first dove into the arcade mode and the character select screen assembled, one very lovely bright-eyed lady caught my eye. Her name was Kokoro, Japanese for heart. I then proceeded to let Kokoro's butt absolutely get wrecked. This was when I first realized I suck at Dead or Alive 4, and I never touched the game since. Dead or Alive 4 was almost the launch title for the Xbox 360, but was pushed back to a month after the Xbox 360's release to polish it up some more. After a year's worth of samey graphics in 2 and 3, 4 blew so many people away for exactly how polished it was. Okay, I'm lying, I can only speak for myself. Everything just looked like it had that next-gen shine to it, and it looked like the smoothest running video game I'd ever seen. I think they call that frame rate nowadays. Not to mention the jump from models to eye-popping colors and full high definition was way ahead of any other fighting game I remember at the time. Remember, this was years before Street Fighter 4 and Tekken 6 hit the console. Other than graphics and other presentation goodness, DOA 4's most notable change is, coincidentally, its most subtle to the newbie. The amount of time needed to pull off a counter was greatly reduced. To offset this, and to even it out a bit, counters did much more damage. Knowing that I already stink at countering in any Dead or Alive game, you also know now why I think that this is the hardest Dead or Alive game ever. Story mode still had different paths for each character, but this time, even the final bosses were different for some characters. For this playthrough, I did play as Kokoro, and it turns out her final battle is with Helena. Huh. She must know something we don't. Anyway, teach us your fighting style. What the bollocks? If I could just gush here, not to sound like that guy, but the thing that pulls me to Kokoro is that she's training to be a geisha by her mother's orders. She's been sort of sheltered by her mother, and in DOA 4, her desire to compete in the Dead or Alive tournament is passionate. But it seems that Kokoro's mother also knows something we don't.
デッド・オア・アライブ大会って知ってる？
出よう言うやないやろね。
ダメ？
どないなっても知りまへん。
I'll explain it later. But like with every other DOA game, the central story is, of course, on Kusumi, who is still struggling with her consequences of abandoning the clan, and whose final boss is, well, the real final boss, Alpha 152, a specimen of Doatech, and Kasumi's clone. Who's a bitch! You also now had pre-rendered HD cutscenes that somehow supposedly don't make sense, but then again, I'm never going to beat the arcade mode, so I'm never going to see these endings for... I did it. And that's the gameplay of Dead or Alive 4, and as I said, it is my favorite. Even though the difficulty is way too high for my tastes, stop it. Even though the difficulty is way too high for my tastes, it still looks and feels like such a blast to play. Just look at this! Dead or Alive has never been this colorful and eye-catching. The fighting is much more fluid and much more engaging. That's what I love most about Dead or Alive 4. What's that other reason again?
You're the one whom I want to be with. You're the one.
she's been sort of sheltered. That's a tongue twister. She's been doing